Everybody listen to We're Not Wizards, because we are the best, and we're not wizards, no matter what anybody says. Goodbye.
For Glory card game review from Spielcraft Games. Some things in history are crying out to be turned into forms of tabletop entertainment. And for Glory, you're trying to become the leader of a successful gladiator school, recruiting the best fighters on offer, bringing on politicians to support you, and even learn tactics that you can bring to the fight. Earn enough glory, and you'll be declared the best and greatest at all you do, and have a straight Roman road named after you. Maybe get a sword. Maybe you'll end up being played in a film by an actor who decides to die halfway through, so you need to be replaced digitally. Who knows? Live by the words, etc. For Glory is offering you a deck building game to be played between two people, split into two main phases, where you'll build your deck to increase your skills, gain influence, and hopefully win through. In the second phase, where you'll be pitting your champions against each other in hand-to-sword combat. Sometimes with armour, and sometimes you'll just be running around in your pants, but you'll be a rippling Adonis, so let them stare for goodness sake. As far as the main gameplay goes, the Machinations phase is where things begin, and where you'll play cards from your hand of 7 in order to start building your deck. You have a choice of purchasing cards from 3 possible supplies. One offers money and allies in the Senate, the other 2 will offer gladiators and potential tactics that you can use in the arena. Off the bat, you're immediately having to make decisions based on whether you want to build a war chest to spend later, or start building your squad to battle. Cheaper companions are weaker and easily to register for the arena events, while the most expensive and more powerful ones will often require the influence of a senator in order to allow you to field them in the main event. Tactics can be reserved for use in the main event, and a clever mechanic that allows you to buy back the entire reserve deck provided you have the necessary funds to do so. Only 2 arenas are ever in play out of the potential 3 available, and only on one offers a chance to claim the arena card. Entering into battle is mostly under the player's control. The contest will only start once the total value of the bloodlust of all the combined gladiators reaches the value required by a boast card. As the game progresses, the amount required to trigger the arena battles increases, and it means you've got to field more powerful characters, which forces you to invest in the team you control. Once the arena battles are triggered, you'll then play through the battles in each of the 2 arenas, with the Fleeting Glory arena resolving first, and the Lasting Glory second. Arenas are treated as separate locations, so you can't use powers between them. Initiative is decided and attacks are made and tactics are played, and if you've left your opponents without fighters to continue, then you win the glory based on the arena you fought in. The underdog gets the crowd's favour token, and the next round of Machinations begin before entering the combat. In order to win, the fighting goes on until one player's managed to gain 6 points of glory and goes down in the history books as a wonderful, charming and generous Lannistas. The most important thing about this is that in one round you can potentially win up to 3 glory points, for glory is designed to be fast and messy. There's no hidden point scoring, and how close you are to victory is always easy to see. In terms of looks, frantic and kinetic is how I'd like to describe the artwork in For Glory. There's colour and action. You can almost smell the iron and blood as it sits on the table in front of you. Not all the artwork hits the spot in terms of being accurate, with extra 6-packs and muscles on some of the gladiators, and other parts looking like an extra hour at the drawing table could have given them a sharper finish. But when it's on the table, it works very well. The glory and damage tokens are wonderful looking, and while I'm being an arse about some of the art, the iconography and the text is all fairly easy to make out and understand. It's not a strain to understand where you are in the scheme of things with a quick look over the table and in your deck. Thank goodness I've gone for obvious symbols for which deck certain cards from. There's nothing more painful than having to take apart a deck and reorganise it back to its starting state when you've got nothing to reference in terms of which cards go where. And to that, I'm extremely grateful for what Spielcraft have done here. All in all, For Glory looks brilliant on the table and works within the theme with how the arenas are placed when you play. In terms of learning, For Glory has a generously sized rulebook which is well laid out and gives decent examples of gameplay. It's one of these games I found that needs to be laid out and played in order to be learned properly. While it handles explaining concepts and the mechanics really well, it's not a game I would suggest you teach as you play, as there are a few concepts that need to be understood before you start to make the decisions on the cards. That being said, if you play a dummy, then you might find, like I did in the main gameplay, elements snap into place pretty quickly. As with a lot of deck builders, the learning is going to come over a few sessions as you decide what you're going to start with in terms of funds, fighters or tactics. It's a well put together rulebook that explains the key concepts kind of really well. In terms of timing, unlike Ridley Scott's epic yarn, this isn't going to take 2.5 hours of your time to get through. One of the things I appreciated about For Glory is that winning requirement is much lower than I expected. You'll maybe spend more time in the machinations phase than the actual fighting, as that's where the majority of the deck building occurs, but I can see games burning through in about 45 minutes once you've got a few under your sword belt. Set aside about 90 minutes for your first game and you'll probably come out the other side with change. In terms of, well, what I think? One of the main clever tricks that For Glory achieves is to delay the inevitable combat. That sounds weird in a game which is all about combat, but I've played too many battle type games where you feel like you're stumbling into a fight rather than arriving through choice, prepared and ready for battle. With the bloodlust mechanic, it's possible to keep the arenas closed until you're ready to fight and force your opponent to field a hand of smaller, less powerful gladiators, and if they're so itching for some steel on steel hot action. I see wins will be handed out to those who plan and prepare and stash cards for a rainy day over those charging in with loincloth and confidence. While there appears to be a lot to learn, I found that it actually is just a deck builder with a few extra trinkets, and that's not meant in a derogatory sense. For Glory does a lot of things right here, from the clean card layout to the easy to understand rulebook, and there's a lot of effort to help you get this game to the table and play. Are you not entertained? In this case, I think you will be. In terms of tips, I think concentrate your money on money and senators in the first instance, as you'll need both to purchase and field more powerful gladiators. This game was designed by Alex Wolff, illustration by Jacob Atienza, and the graphic design was by Amit Gaj. This review is based on the retail version of the game provided to us by the designer and publisher. We're not paid for this review. We give a general overview of the gameplay, and so not all of the mechanical aspects of the game may be mentioned. The majority of games that we play are going to take a reasonable number of sessions and playthroughs to fully understand every possibility that they offer. We hope this write-up gives you an idea of whether or not this game is something that you'll consider playing or even add to your collection. Our 6 degrees of expectation have been written to make it easier for you to find out what is important to you as a player. Even if we don't like something, hopefully it helps you decide if it's something that you should find out more about. And we always suggest that you check out a gameplay video to give you a better of an understanding of the game as it's played. If you'd like to see the original review, please go to our website, which is we'renotwizards.co.uk. Thanks for listening. Remember, stay safe, roll 6s, make something awful. Until the next time, goodbye.
A wizard is never late. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.